Okay, so hi everybody. Thanks for joining. Basically, I will explain what we plan to do for the openIMIS Sandbox tender for implementation of the different elements that we already saw. But firstly, I will try to represent the team and the agenda. So we will try to explain what are the scope of the project and what we will try to achieve during this mission. So the team is composed by different implementers in different countries. So we have a very multicultural team involved in this specific mission. Me, Maxime, as the team leader. So yeah, I'm based in Cameroon for almost 20 years, and I had the opportunity to implement openIMIS for different countries in Africa, and obviously for Cameroon. Sunil, who is maybe in the room, basically representing a group who worked a lot for Nepalese implementation of openIMIS. Bagaja is based on Ethiopia, and yeah, he participated as well for openIMIS implementation there, and Arbed, which is administrative backstopper. So basically, the technical team is represented by different implementing countries, experts, where we already deployed openIMIS, and I hope that it will help to solve those kind of real-life problems that we have. So let me try to explain the objectives and the scope of this sandboxing tender. So there is different work packages. The first is to identify and prioritize the digital public goods that we will interoperate with, and try to package it in the sandbox environment. So we have different steps to achieve this one. Firstly, we'll try to identify use cases. So we will work with the product group of openIMIS and the different stakeholders to be sure that we will be covering health financing and social protection scenarios in these tenders, in this mission. So that will be the first step. We already begin discussion. We already have, let's say, a view of what we want to achieve, but we need to refine it in order to be sure that we will interoperate it with the correct products. The second step is the interoperability. So that's mainly the analysis of what openIMIS can do to interoperate with openHIE and DCAI frameworks, in fact, to locate gaps for interoperability already done, and try to improve the data exchange between the different interoperability framework based on analysis we will do. The third element will be estimation, because you can imagine that interoperability with different systems can be complex, and so can require different development, different customization to implement it in a package way. So we will have to firstly estimate the cost of this implementation in order to be realistic based on the mission we have. And so it will help us to go more deeply into what is already done on openIMIS interoperability frameworks, and what's the work remaining in order to have a complete sandboxing environment. So yeah, I almost stole the previous slide that overshared, but we are all not put so I fork it, and I try to explain the architecture vision that GIZ share this, and basically this is the kind of interoperability framework we will have to achieve. Some elements are already there, almost working. Some of them are still to be worked on, but basically that's the different system that we will probably need to interoperate with for openHIE on one side and on the DCI view for the other side. And yeah, I try to show what kind of sandboxing environment we will have to achieve at the end of the day to showcase the interoperability use cases really used on the field. Okay, so that was for the work package 1. So basically that's the definition of scope, the definition of work we will have to achieve in this mission. Then for the second work package, we will work on installing the setup, the different environments. So it means that we will have to deploy in the different environment, the different softwares already located for interoperate with, and contribute to the openIMIS code base to be sure that interoperability is really working. And yeah, I try to explain it a little bit further. Basically, we will have to work on code changes because for experience that we already had, there is few custom still to do, few development still to do on the openIMIS side to be sure that interoperability is working for openHIE and DCI compatibility. And yeah, we will have probably dependencies challenge based on the different instance we will use. So it needs code changes and probably extensions of some component of the code. We will as well try to create synthetic data in order to have a showcase, a complete showcase of the solution with the large data sets relevant to be sure that the interoperability is, let's say, meaningful, because we need data on the different system to showcase the different interoperability framework we will interoperate with. So one of the most important work package will be this synthetic data generation on openIMIS side, but maybe also on other system as well. The last element, one of the last elements is the sandbox automation. So as we will build and work with an agile method, we will try to automate deployment for openIMIS side, of course, but also for others component external softwares we will deploy on the sandbox environment to be sure that the integration is quite smooth between the different systems. And last but not least will be the testing process, because we need testing and documentation in order to share to the whole community what we do, how we did it exactly, in order to be sure that implementers or other interested organization can deploy the same on their side to be sure they will be able to deploy this kind of architecture on their own, for their own purpose. And yeah, we will move forward as well for knowledge transfer to be sure that those, let's say, local implementers probably or other organization will have a good understanding of what we did and how we did it, and what are the capabilities for openIMIS interoperability. The last part will be the rollout and the maintenance. So it's important to have a good rollout process in order to be sure to showcase the interoperability, the sandboxing platform we will build. And so we will need first to have a release plan, basically based on the official release plan of openIMIS, and we will have to manage the deployment of the sandbox environment in this rollout process. And the next step will be monitoring and maintenance. It's important to have a showcase platform that will be available and will be reviewing by public issue queues if necessary, in order to have a continuous monitoring in the system. So that's the monitoring and maintenance. And finally, the community support, because like I already mentioned, we are local implementers, so we know that community support is very important to achieve this kind of projects in the different countries we are working on, or new countries that are interested on interoperability implementation with openIMIS. So we will provide technical expertise for different workshops or training activities to share the methodology on technical side to achieve this kind of sandboxing platform, and especially on the real life interoperability processes countries will need to implement. So that's the different work package we have for the sandboxing tender. And we are until now this beginning of the project. So we are still working on the scope, on the detailed scope for the inception report, in order to be sure we move forward on the good direction. Over to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Let me stop the recording.